TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Like I said, Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports. Pardon me. What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. I already know what it is. We back with another one. We got a breaking news special report for the people tonight. Obviously, if you've been living under a rock, breaking news has came out involving Mr. James Harden. Is wild. The reports that have broken. It seemed like it was been an all-day saga of events, one after another. Shout out DJ Gemini from the 504 in the building early. Salute to everybody that's in here early. But all day it seemed like it's been a saga. We first got the news, obviously, today that James Harden, the trade talks is officially ended. You know, it seemed like it has been a hard situation to get a deal. You know, especially you got Daryl Morey there. He's definitely a shrewd operator. He's definitely trying to make some big time things happen for his franchise. He don't want to get fleeced in this deal, but nonetheless, you know, Harden is still adamant he wants out, and we got to get all into it to figure out what's going to be his destination, what's his whereabouts. The Sixers are saying that they intend to bring him back in for training camp. And James Harden is making it firmly clear that he has no intentions on making it or even being at training camp. So it's going to be a lot of different things to evaluate as we lead up to this situation, this inevitable situation. If it's my guess, I think they move him. I think this is another marketing ploy to some of these teams, because you got to think, some of these teams genuinely believe that they're backed into a corner, they're cornered in, they got to do something, which they do. But the Sixers got to create some sort of leverage, you know, because right now I'm pretty sure they wasn't having anything. They was probably trying to get James Harden for little to nothing. And, you know, Daryl Morey just wasn't going for it. But here we are now. I feel sorry for a guy like Joel Embiid, you know, because he's the one who loses the most in all of this. I think that Embiid, he's been knocking on the door, you know, for championship, you know, glory, but things just can never fall through for him for whatever reason. I think that was definitely a troubling situation for him. The Ben Simmons thing didn't work. The Jimmy Butler thing didn't work. I mean, goddamn, nothing worked for him. Finally, it seemed like something was going to happen. James Harden made it very, very clear that he wanted to be in Philadelphia when he was traded to Brooklyn. He didn't like that move anyway, and he ended up bolting. And when he ended up getting to Philly, he made it clear that Philadelphia was his first choice initially. It was definitely crazy that he got sent to Brooklyn anyway, but he's getting bounced around the league, and now he's looking to play for another team. And I'm not sure what kind of results he's looking for. Is rumors that he wanted to head down to Philadelphia, down to back to Houston. And me personally, I think that's completely idiotic if he wanted to go back to Houston, because they're not a championship team. Obviously, they have the money. But if you're the Houston Rockets, why would you bring Harden back to this team to disrupt what this young talent is looking to do? I think They already have the veterans, that they brought in. They brought in guys like Van Vliet. They brought in Brooks. I think these guys are going to be complementary pieces. You don't want to bring in somebody like that, and it just like I said, it just completely wrecks everything. But nonetheless, James Harden got a lot of things to really worry about, because if you got to think about it, you trying to run away from the MVP, which is Joel Embiid. He's the MVP of the league. You're trying to run there, and the rumors is out that you trying to fight to get to Houston. That's not a good look. It's just not a good look at all. You have to do what you have to do. It's time. Listen, I don't know what more Joel Embiid can give. The man is out there pretty much. He has knee issues, and he's still out there giving it 150%. What can James Harden do? Can they retool? Can they get rid of? They should have been got rid of Tobias Harris. So it's things that they could do to make this team look a little more appealing to him. What are they going to do about Maxey? There's a lot of moves that could be made. I know that people love Tyrese Maxey, but what if they move on from him? They got to get rid of Harris, in my opinion. I think it's time they got to shake it up a little bit, because they keep bringing back the same cast of characters. And I know now that there's no Doc Rivers, but who's to say that Nick Nurse won't run into the same issues? The team definitely must play through Joel Embiid, in my opinion. I thought that James Harden was going to be the point guard of the future, but it seemed like that just not happened to be the case. Um, Harden's definitely a beast. I think this point guard dynamic, I know the point guard dynamic, it came from guys like Mike D'Antoni. D'Antoni definitely instilled that in him when he got to Houston. He made it clear that he was going to be a points guard and all of these different things. And it's definitely worked out. CWE was good. He said Harden is Ben Simmons 2.0. I mean, if you want to talk about the way he want to leave, I ain't gonna say on the floor. I can't agree with that. I think that they are like completely two different talents, in my opinion. Ben Simmons got a lot of deficiencies in his game. It seemed like every year we discuss injuries, 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 but somehow the injuries get rectified and the talent doesn't. Uh, but I mean, I don't want to waste too much time on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons play like a dude that never worked on his game at all. You're a multi-millionaire. You can't shoot. You can't make a layup. I mean, there's a lot of this. This is ridiculous. You can't make free throws. I mean, this is unacceptable. For these players that's making all this money that they can't make a free throw. Um, I don't know how this is even accepted. Seriously, but it is what it is at the end of the day. James Harden, I don't even know if he can swing the balance of power. The rumors is that he wants to head down to the Clippers. I really don't see the Clippers really jumping up to that upper echelon if they was to somehow acquire him. I just don't see it, in my opinion. So I don't know how hard a harder move can swing the balance unless he goes to a team that's completely stacked. If he finds a way down to Phoenix, and I just don't see that happening. But if something like that, but I don't see a team where he just makes them the overwhelming favorite. We're gonna get all into it. Shout out my man DJ Gemini. Was good.
Man, what's up, flight, bro?
So we got breaking news in the NBA. You see what's going on with James Harden.
Man, I'm gonna be honest to you. This dude haven't been the same since OKC. Honestly, he he left OKC, went to H Town, right? The owner did what he did with that statement. That was the reason why he wanted to leave Houston. Him and Westbrook both wanted to leave, specifically on what the owner did on political views. He leave from there. He goes to New Jersey. If barring injury,
And it was
the
Brooklyn too. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Barring the injury, KD and Kyrie just couldn't get right for some reason. So at that point, that was a good reason to leave. But now he's in Philadelphia with Embiid. There's no reason to leave. But you also see a non-commitment from him on the floor, not just on the defensive side, on the offensive side. If you strip the ball from him, he's ready to take his ball and go home. He's pouting, even though it was a clean strip without a foul. So at this point, he want the money and none of the responsibilities. He just want to go down as one of the best scorers in the league. That's it.
That's
What
all it looks like. What's going on in Philadelphia? Why he trying to run away from the MVP?
me personally, I can't see it. Even though to me, the backup point guard played better than him. It was better chemistry, more ball movement, and they won games. I maybe he doesn't like the competition of that backup point guard, but that backup point guard is young. I think that's Maxi. If I remember correctly, that's Maxi. He is a bright young kid coming up. Harden don't like that type of pressure coming right behind him. Because as soon as he don't have a bad game, the coach got a good option to sit him down.
I don't know,
So
man. They got to take care of him. That's Daryl Morey, boy. They can't just send him off.
what you mean? He's putting himself in this predicament. Because I mean, right now they should have been concentrating on the draft picks that they just did. The I think they bought in one free agent, or was it two? I think it's one. That's what they should be concentrating on. No, they're concentrating on Harden that's still under contract.
Yeah. Shout out Rap Guy Reloaded. Salute to CWE. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got breaking news in the NBA. James Harden. This thing takes another turn of events. Who uh, who who knows how this whole thing is gonna end? I mean, is James Harden gonna be at training camp? Because it seemed like that's the new speculation. You got Maury saying he gonna be there, and you got Harden's people making it clear that he has no intentions on being at training camp. What the hell is gonna happen at training camp?
I mean, the 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 only thing training camp really isn't as big as it used to be for people who are not committed to basketball. Okay, for people who that are committed to basketball is paramount. You need to know where your teammate like to catch the ball. You need to be aware of what cuts they like to do, curls, straights, how many screens they like to go through before you give them the ball. So when you're committed, that's important. When you're non-committed, it's not important.
I'm
Him,
with you.
not important.
You remember when they brought in Ben Simmons? His ass was at training camp, and
Y-
I know he ain't want to be there. You remember that? I know it
Yeah,
was a
but
different regime.
but it, the I don't look at it the same because Ben is a playmaker. Well, was a playmaker. He have to show me that he rekindled that. He was a playmaker, so he had to be at training camp, regardless on if he didn't want to be there or not. He had to be. With Harden is is not that big of a deal because it, the non-commitment. So he, he barely wants to pass the ball away when somebody is open. And basically, if it's not a fast break, you might as well not count on him. So I don't, me personally, I don't see it make a breaking with him being at training camp over Maxi. Maxi, that's a different animal. He will be at training camp. Why? Because he wants to celebrate being in the NBA and his commitment to the game.
Don't be on all
I
night.
can't hear you at all.
What'd you
Okay,
say?
I couldn't hear you at all. You
Nah, I
was
was
coming through
listening to you.
muffle.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you good now.
Yeah, like I said, this James Harden situation is gonna be crazy. I was just thinking about before you came on. I was discussing how James Harden could swing the balance of power. Can a trade of Harden right now swing the balance of power? Him fighting to get to the Clippers, does that give him a better shot than being with the Sixers? The West is stacked. I mean, why he want to go into that kind of situation?
The Clippers will have to give up their younger pieces and their younger veterans to get him. Cause if I remember correctly, I think Horton makes 36 mil a year, like 30, 35, 36 mil a year. So then Philly also going to want a pick or two within that.
They gonna want that kid Bones, that dude Bones Highland or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they gonna want some of them young pieces. Well, I
I
think if you the Clippers, you gonna do it because you got Kawhi there, you got PG. Yeah, you never won a champion. You got to sell hope to your fans. And the trade, like Harden, they might not win nothing, but the fan base gonna go crazy.
the only way if I was the Clippers, I would do that trade. They got to take KL. They got to take KL. If they
What you
if they
mean?
don't take Kawhi Leonard.
Man, they're gonna take care of them. They have to.
No, no, no. I'm saying the the trade I'm proposing is James Harden for Kawhi Leonard
Oh
because
nah,
you're only gonna get like about 15, 20 games out of him.
it's not gonna happen. It's
I
gonna be
I
James Harden for possibly some of them young pieces. I don't know what happened. Or you got the Clippers probably saying, nah, we ain't giving nothing up. We ain't giving him up. Nah. Y'all backed into a corner. You see, they gotta create some kind of leverage. They gotta let these teams know, like, listen, man, Harden, he gonna be right here at training camp. Y'all keep messing around. Y'all better make me an offer. They're probably trying to trade him for nothing. I'm telling you.
I mean me personally, if I was the Clippers, I wouldn't trade it unless they're gonna take KL because KL what play at the most played about 10 games
It's
like
possible.
last year at the most.
It's possible.
So I
Houston don't got the pieces.
no, Houston had the money. Um, at the beginning of free agency, Houston had the money. Houston had the second most in money for free agency. So if he could get over what the owner did and uh with his political view, yes, that made sense. I doubt it, and I think he was just talking just to talk because
I could agree with that.
that statement right after the owner made that statement, him if you remember correctly, him and Westbrook the very next hour it they went on social media and said they wanted out of there.
I remember that.
So at this point, how that's why I say it's talking just to talk because the Houston still got the same owner. Yeah, that president not in office no more, but Houston still have the same owner. He's still a Canadian, so I don't see that part changing at all. Idoka as a coach, yeah, that's a nice piece, but Houston have then already I, they're past the start of their rebuilding of their situation. So I don't think they would hinder that by giving up young pieces for Harden. Now, if this was a draft day trade or something like that, yeah, that would have made more sense. What he trying to do right now, this is just cute. This like some Girl Scout cookie stuff for real right here. What Harden trying to do right now. I mean, if you miss King of Diamonds that bad, bro, you need to book a private jet and have some of them nice pieces, put them on a jet, fly them out to you, and fly them back. I mean, you can't be missing King of Diamonds that bad.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Oh, my bad. My shit was on mute. What was the last thing that you said?
I say if anything, James Harden could not be missing King of Diamonds that bad. If
Oh man,
anything, book a private jet, put a couple of them things on the plane, fly them out to you, then fly them back.
man, this dude James Harden is a trip, in my opinion. I think he ain't gonna never win a championship. His best hope was in Brooklyn. You know, when he had KD and all of them. I
Yeah, but
don't
they
know.
they couldn't get right
That was
because
his
of
best
health
hope.
though. Right, but they couldn't get right because of health though. They wasn't even Kyrie and KD wasn't even taking their health seriously.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, what at most they played 12 games together.
No, that's facts. That
So I
was
mean,
definitely so. But I mean, you still could have ran it back. I mean, they ended with so it seemed like with so much bad blood. You know, like even though it seemed like they cool or whatever, but they didn't end. It didn't end right.
yeah, but okay, right now, if me and you go to the park, right,
Right.
we want to be on the same team. So we wait for the next one up. We're on the same team, and all of a sudden, y me and our other partner all of a sudden tweak an ankle or something like that, and you out there left by yourself with guys you're not used to playing with. How you gonna feel? I mean, he didn't go there for the other guys. He went there for his two friends, KD and Kyrie. And health wise, they just couldn't get right. So I mean, really, they robbed that owner without a gun, cause Kyrie and KD still got paid and got a chance to heal. And Kyrie just got al- also forced the trade. KD forced the trade. So I mean, if he picking up their bad habits of being coach killers and not being committed to the game, what does that help with? I mean, defensive wise, you can say what you want about Tobias, but Tobias normally is guarding the best person on the opposite team. So that's the only reason why his numbers went down. When they was letting him concentrate on offense, his numbers was up. Now you got Embiid saying he want more shots, Harris saying he want more shots, and Harden and Embiid is taking the most shots. And don't forget, they have PJ when he's wide open, streaky shooter. So I I can't put everything on Embiid because Embiid was actually bull jiving at the beginning of his career too. He really wasn't taking this serious. I thought he was gonna be actually a Greg Oden because he wasn't taking his serious at all. So I mean, right now I just feel sorry for 76ers fans because they gave up a lot to get him, and they're gonna try to get at least that back plus. So do you think they another team gonna come in with the Captain Kirk cape? I don't think so. I mean, unless you know something different, flight. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. CWE Jess, Rap God Reloaded. Hey man, what what do y'all really think about this with Harden? Because I don't see Harden doing too much, no matter where he trying to go.
Facts.
KD probably that.
So what's up? So what's going on with Joel Embiid? Where does he fall in all of this?
I mean, he done had two players to let him down: Ben Simmons and Harden. Jimmy didn't let him down. Jimmy was the one that actually got him to get his mind right. So I'm not. I'm really not mad at the Jimmy situation. I'm more disappointed with the front office because they got rid of Butler
Well,
to try
remember,
to
remember,
coddle.
it's a new front office. But it's I know, say, well, go ahead. They got
Well,
Maury in there. I
right,
don't think
but they
Maury was there for the Butler situations.
no, but they was trying to coddle Ben Simmons at the time. It's basically what
Mm,
I'm getting at.
okay, yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that.
What Jimmy was like, come on, man, we could do this, and we can go deep and possibly win it all.
And
Now the
Jimmy was
six,
trying to figure out why none of these organizations was trying to build a team around him and make him the number one option. That seemed like he was always trying to figure that out. Whether that was in Philly, was that in Minnesota? He got upset when other people was. Well, that's just what I took from it. And then he finally got an organization that was going to do it, and it was Miami.
nah, I won't say that about Jimmy Flight, and here's the main reason why I don't say that. And I brought this up the other night. For a lot of people who really don't know Jimmy Butler's story, Jimmy Butler is one of the is a young man who was homeless at one time, was actually thrown away by his parent. So the way Jimmy look at it is, even though I'm in the NBA, I don't want to be homeless again. Like that's what's in his gut, like down to his bone gristle. Like Jimmy's whole thing is, man, I don't want to be homeless again. So when he hit the court, uh, uh, what most people look at him as a bad game on the stat sheet, don't look at what all he actually put into that game. The defensive prowess, the offense, like he wants the best out of everybody around him because that man don't want to be homeless again. Like he really does have that down to his bone gristle. KD could go to a strip club. CWE KD could go to a strip club in the season and still be ready to hoop. Nah, not really CWE, because KD gotta watch himself just walking down the street. Cause remember, he was doing warm up by himself and rolled the ankle. That kept him out for how long? Right after he got traded to Phoenix, and he did the same thing in New Jersey too. So I disagree. But Jim,
I agree.
like for someone to actually learn Butler, like you have to see the work that he put in at Chicago. Chicago just didn't want to pay him,
Yeah, I ain't gonna
but
lie to you. He was a beast when they had all of them. When they was stacked. Rose was coming off the injury. They had Noah. Like he wasn't even. He was just an extra.
right. but he put in that work and developed into a young man that we see today.
Yeah, he was able to. Yeah, nobody expected him. What was he, the 30th pick? Nobody thought he was going to be a number one option, two-way player. This kind of. They didn't see this.
Right. So at this point, you literally have somebody who's hungry and requests the best out of every teammate on the team. Not just the coach, not just another star on the team. He like, look, if you hit the court, I need your best. Think about it. Miami went far since the bubble. Well, since getting Butler with a lot of undrafted players. Dig that. Take that in for a sec. With a lot of undrafted players. They did their own in-house rebuild that didn't even seem like a rebuild to the NBA. Cause
Nah, I completely agree with y'all. Shout out Uncle Vern. We got Purple Baby. You already know what it is. We got breaking news. We in here with Gemini. We discussing a whole lot of crazy talk right now. There's so much speculation going on with James Harden. It's ridiculous. I know y'all heard all of the news that broke today. What's your thoughts on the situation? Uncle Vern was good.
Hey, what's
what
good,
up,
Flight? What's up,
Uncle
Juggernaut?
Vernon
What's
Purple?
going on, Purple
What's
Baby?
happening?
What's
Hey,
up,
Hello.
look,
Purple Baby?
I don't know what's going on, Flight. All I did is Flight. I just turned on and I seen you on and I seen breaking news. What's going on, Flight? Somebody inform me about what's happening.
Like,
I
yo,
don't know what's
yo,
going
yo,
on. I
yeah,
don't have a clue.
yeah, well, James Harden, he
No.
basically the Sixers are calling off the trade talks. They have ended trade talks with Harden, and they plan on bringing him back to training camp. He announced that he has no intentions on coming back to training camp, so it's just one big fiasco. You know, he's adamant about getting to Los Angeles, the
Uh,
Clippers, preferably. And the Sixers seem like they hell bent on making sure they get a right offer. So Purple Baby, what's good?
Hello. How are y'all doing?
Not much.
What's good, Perp?
What's your thoughts on the situation?
I'm not surprised. Um, I don't. I James Harden. I think he had a right to leave Houston, seeing that's what was going on. But it was just like when he got to Brooklyn, outside of nobody really being healthy enough for their three main guys to be healthy enough to all be on the court and play together. It just I'm trying so hard not to judge him off the Houston thing because I agree with him with that, but it's like, man, come on, like you could have just stayed. I know he opted in for his money, but he could have just stayed a free agent and went where he wanted to go. If you wanted to leave Philadelphia so bad, like
But another thing I want to ask you: why he trying to fight so hard to get away from the MVP? Like people should want to, they'll be
I,
running to the MVP. He running away.
I don't know. It's what we don't know is we not there. We not sitting in these offices. We not at these meetings as fans. And like Philadelphia just I don't know, like we be thinking all these organizations like some are above others and they all good, but all of them got their secrets and I don't know if it's James Harden or if it's the people running the organizations at this point. You might want to put the blame on James and his attitude and just how he go about stuff. But I don't know. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
I think I can answer that, Flight.
What's that?
Yeah, it's reflected James Harden playing with another person that is at his pay level. You understand me? And then that other person got a lot of pub out there in Philadelphia, and it's like you fight between the two. You know what I'm saying? It goes right back to that to the situation with Melo out there, and Gordon Hayward. You know, it's that celebrity is fighting against each other. And when it come down to it, James Harden ain't got that much celebrityism out there in Philadelphia. So he can kick rocks as far as they're concerned because if it come down to him and Embiid, James Harden can kick rocks. You did? You I mean you understand?
Yeah, he
So
definitely
that's
not
like
going
what it is.
over Embiid in
Yeah.
Philly.
Right. And see what James Harden problem is, it goes right back to everybody else's problem. You know what I'm saying? They was always good at one thing. They never developed to be good at the other things also. So then that catches up with him. He ain't got no defense. He all offense. And then he takes up the ball too much. Then you got to get the ball to MB because he got to take that other half of the ball. So you ain't got too many other people to be able to choose and do anything. And then that makes a problem with the other guys. So he has to be dealt with. You know, he can get his points. It's like, he an offensive guard. He can get his points. He gonna get you some points. He gonna get some threes. He gonna do all that. But that ain't always enough. Goes right back when he was with Houston and other places he been to. That didn't bring about no winning. That didn't add to winning. So
Well, but also with Houston, Uncle Vern, when they got rid of Capella, that was the anchor of their defense. So that that went their
Mark Capella, yeah.
defense. So um, just in general though, Harden. See, this is also why I cannot never take Kyrie seriously ever since he left Cleveland, mainly because the situations are similar. If you would have possibly stayed and everybody would have got healthy, y'all possibly could have made the play in, then y'all could have went forward. You got in your feelings, got very emotional. Now you trying to figure out everything.
Yeah.
So it's like at the end of the day, I don't know how to take this man serious because you want to be a star, but you don't want to be the star.
Well, he
You
wants to
really
be the
want to party.
he
You,
wants to
you
be the he wants to that cut you off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He wants to be the star, but look where he going to all in Houston. Really, it ain't really nothing. He ain't gonna do nothing but be a star amongst a lot of young kids that ain't going nowhere. He don't want to be that kind of star. He want to be a star on a winning team. But then when he get on the winning team, he takes from that. He really
I
because he takes the ball too much. He takes up too much of the ball. So he takes from the winning part of it. Really, the winning part is the scoring part. But this is the NBA. This is you got to play chess in the NBA. It ain't dominoes. You can't just run the score up on them. That don't work all the time. And
yeah, but I'm
when it comes down past that running the score part on his game, he ain't got no game.
yeah, I mean I'm not disagreeing with that point.
All right.
But I'm saying it's like he wants to be the star, but don't want to be the star in the same instance because when it comes to the accountability part, he never
Yeah,
wants to take accountability for it.
I agree
When
with that. I
when when
go
when
ahead.
it's
Go ahead. Go
time
ahead.
to stand up on your 10 toes, he cop and run
Right.
rather than
Exactly.
stand there.
Yeah. Yeah. And take his money with him.
Right.
Take all his money with him.
I
Don't
mean,
don't leave
when
a penny. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, when he was dating the Kardashian, I even looked past that part. I was like, he just wilding, doesn't matter, whatever, whatever. Now look at it. He back in the news. Like I see why these three are friends. Like to be honest, H- Kyrie, Irvin, and Katie. I see why they're friends because they're the spitting image of each other.
Yeah.
All three of them. In CWE, you're right. Delusional is right.
Right.
I
When you
just
yeah.
like like I said, I don't know what happened to to Harden. You make a way, you make a name for yourself when you in Houston, and then it just I don't know what happened, man. Like why now you known for all the wrong things. Like it's
Okay, you say he made a name for himself in Houston.
hmm
Actually, he made his name for himself in OKC as being a six man. When he started and he was developing scoring his scoring prowess. So when he left OKC, and he really said, "Nah, now it's time for me to be the man." Okay, at that point I gave him because he would never be the starting point guard at OKC with Westbrook there. I'm sorry, it just wasn't gonna happen. The numbers wasn't gonna justify making him a starter. And now, if he would have been the shooting guard, that's I I don't have no pushback on that. But for him to be the starting point guard, yes, I got hella pushback. But when he got to Houston, he still had a chance to be a shooting guard. He still chose to want to be a point guard. Then going to Philly, Philly gave him two options. You could be the shooting guard or the point guard because we need both. He still chose to be the point guard. Right now, with the way he plays, he really needs to be the shooting guard. And I hate to use that analyst from Fox News, but I almost want to tell him shut up and dribble. I really do.
I mean, I like when I say make a name, like how people say he's a star or a superstar, whatever you want to refer to him. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, he was good in OKC, but to me, he didn't catch my eye until he started doing what he was doing in Houston. As far as being that guy, him and Chris Paul for that matter, taking Houston to the playoffs and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't turning on my TV to watch James Harden when he was at OKC. I was turning it on to watch Kevin Durant, honestly.
Uh, I dig that part. So at this point, all he's doing is messing up his legacy because
Oh, yeah.
I was even shocked when they compared him to MJ, and I'm still trying to figure out why the people at Fox Sports did that. They went to put him down as one of the all-time best scorers,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, if you want to argue that, I could bring up Carmelo, because
Yeah.
I mean, at, at at this point, Harden actually picked up. I don't want to say picked up. He developed into the player he is late. He was a late bloomer. Is basically what I'm getting at. Carmelo came into the league putting up the points that he put up from
Yes.
Syracuse. So, and we all know Carmelo didn't play a lick of defense at that time. Not a lick of defense. He was
Yeah.
the ultimate traffic cone on defense that you would want to form together, like Voltron, like for real. But when it came to that offense, oh, offense was bananas. He could sleep and give you 25.
Right.
He starts stretching it's gonna be like from 30 to 35. And if he really pop open them eyes strong, that's 40 to 45. So I mean, at that juncture, I don't I don't see with a team with a Harden type player, you need everybody else around him to be defensive minded.
I agree. I think it was funny to me, but I forgot what season it was when I guess they don't really. I'm pretty sure these players do read the rule book and stuff and what's illegal and what's legal. But as much fun as I had watching Harden because he was still in Houston doing that, I think that hurt him too. Like, yeah, you was having all these 30-point games, 40-point games. Hey, they didn't say it was illegal and they didn't do this, and he was living his best life at the free throw line. I think like if people was trying to take you seriously, or let's say people did take him seriously, and they seen that, some of them was probably that left a bad taste in their mouth too, because it's like, okay, we ain't saying that you can't do that, but sometimes just because it ain't been done, don't mean that you should do it. Especially if everybody's reading the rule book, just get away with other stuff that everybody gets away with. Don't sit up there and do what you did. And I don't help
No, that was a travel. No, that move he used to do, that was a travel.
in a carry.
Yeah, like that, like. For real.
Well, they changed that now to call now it's the Euro step. Now it's the Euro
No, no,
step.
no, no, no. No, no. The step back he does on, no, that's not the Euro step.
Okay.
No, that's that different move. He goes forward, pick up the ball, then take two steps back. Like that was a travel. Like
Okay.
that was really a travel. I don't care if you playing Polk ball, YMCA, college, like especially in the pro. That was a clear cut travel, and it was letting them get away with it because it was entertaining. But
Yep.
then you had other players doing it that now I'll say this: they wasn't as agile, but
Mhm.
if he could get away with it, I
Right.
definitely got to be able to get away with it. And then players started petitioning, like, why did I get called for this travel and he didn't get called for this travel?
Right.
That's
Right.
what made the NBA actually change that rule because the players actually spoke up on that point. So if the players would have never said nothing, he still would be doing that traveling ass move. I'm sorry, that was just Ed Reed voice trash. Like that was
Why do you
traveling.
think, now that I think about it, like I said, I'm not saying they reading it from front to back, but why do you think Harden, like with the talent that he had, why do you think he decided to do that? Like, what's your viewpoint on that?
What that move? Why did
No,
he?
just in general, like his whole way about it. Like, okay, I read through the, rule book and stuff like that, like everybody else did. Like, I really want to know his thought process because it's like, I get trying it one time, but if you're an honest person, and you know something ain't right. Like, why? I don't understand it because I
Oh,
think that messed them up too. Like, you didn't have
oh,
to do that.
no, no. I kind of see what your question is, and I hope I'm able to answer it.
Okay.
It was to get distance from the defender, because what started happening is people started blocking his shot.
Mm.
So he didn't at first he was trying to develop that little kick like Reggie Miller. That's literally what he used to do, a little kick like Reggie Miller, but not as awkward. So that was helping him. But then defenders, they would literally put the small forward on him, so, or a taller two guard, and he was getting his shot blocked. Well, that happened for about half a season.
Mm.
Then you seen him. Then they dropped the video, um, because he went to the All Star break, but it was like during that break where they had a couple of days off, and they showed him actually in the gym with a trainer, um, and the professor. I I I I don't know if you know about and one, but the professor is one of the ones that really help him base that move. The foundation for that move actually comes from the professor, because
Mm-hmm.
the professor does that move. Really been doing that move for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think about Harden because I've been thinking about it like the last couple of days too with Harden. I said without those shenanigans, for that year and that playoff run that he did in Houston, I wonder if this was the guy, the player that he was really all alone. It's just that you know the the little stuff in Houston, what he was doing with the rules and whatever, it was just like pulling blinds over people's eyes. Like, I'm not saying he's not a good player and he's not a good piece and he's not at least a third option or even a second option on a good team. But I just wonder, like, dang, did he really fool me like that when I think about it? Like, did I really get fooled? How good is he really?
Mm, well, okay, he didn't fool you, but I could speak on this because I used to go back and forth to Houston like like most people go around the corner. Um, the nightlife in Houston is different, just like the nightlife in Atlanta is different. Now what I mean by that is people have business meetings in strip clubs in Houston and in Atlanta. They don't do that like in LA, in Miami. You dig what I'm saying? Like they literally have business
Right. I get
meetings
what you're saying.
in these spots. So the same thing like with Chicken Pepper Lou. Like Lou Williams, we could all attest. Lou Williams was a monster coming off of the bench. You
Right.
needed 20, he gonna give you that 20 to 25. Just depends on who he got to go up against, right?
Mhm.
But he was so caught up in the entertainment that was outside of basketball,
Mhm.
which actually started hindering his career.
Right.
If he wasn't caught up in the nightlife of that the adult entertainment industry, Lou Williams still would be on somebody's team just like Eric Gordon is still on somebody's team. Dig what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Right.
So the is the commitment that overall is messing him up. It's not nothing else. Yeah, I could look past a lot of the shenanigans with Houston. I stand up with him. I
Right.
mean
I do too.
the 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 net situation. I still got to stand up there with them because they only played like 12 games with each other.
Right.
But when it at 18 at 18 games at the most, I if I remember the report specifically, I think it said they only played 12 games, but for some reason 18 is jumping into my head right now.
Right.
So I was at the most 18 games. But when you literally have the commitment that he had at OKC, he lost it when he got to Houston. Then he refound it in Houston. Then right after that, he relost it again.
Mm. That's. I mean, cause I hear people saying like he ain't got it no more. He done, and it's just like I don't even feel like his run was that long. Like when I think
No,
about
he
it, I'm like, dang,
late
like
bloomer
that's.
though. Late bloomer. Think about it. Why was he the sixth man?
Mm,
See and that's what a lot of people don't follow when they follow players. Why was he actually the sixth man award winner? It was because of his defensive prowess. He was known for defense. He was not at first known for offense.
mm,
Then he developed a 3-point shot and made it more wet. You dig what I'm saying?
mm,
So at that point, that's when he stepped up and because the OKC did offer him a contract, but they offered him another bench contract. You dig what I'm saying?
mhm,
He could have been the starting shooting guard, and it would have been him, Westbrook, KD, and Ibaka. Yeah, they had Big Perk, but that was just the muscle. You dig what I'm saying?
mm,
So they starting five would have been dangerous because Perk was there and he was helping everybody else get the rebound by boxing out the biggest man. And that's one thing I will give Perk if I don't give him nothing else. He may not have the stats, but that man did a lot of boxing out. Heck, I could say the same thing about Charles Oakley. A lot of rebounds he didn't get, but he kept his man from being able to get them, which kept it open for the other players to get that rebound. You dig what I'm saying?
right,
But if if he would have kept his tenacity, his commitment to the game, and I guess that's why I am a LeBron fan the way that I am because of the work ethic. Like overall, he lost his work ethic. Can he score? Yes. For the people who saying he don't have it, I will call him a bald faced lie. You just have to catch him on certain nights that he don't go to the club the night before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't say he lost his work ethic. I say he never had his work ethic. And then when you say he made his fouls on defense, that was in Arizona. That wasn't in the NBA.
No, that was at OKC.
That was
That that
no. That wasn't at OKC, brother. He was a six man at OKC, and when he came out shooting. He wasn't holding nobody. Wasn't nobody on OKC holding a purse.
No, he was keeping his man to a good number. Like even when he went against Kobe, like he kept his during the time he was on the floor, he kept his man to decent numbers. I can't lie on the man.
Okay,
I won't lie on him.
okay,
Like he literally kept his man
right,
that he was guarding to decent numbers,
right,
where
okay,
where they wasn't getting blown out.
all
And
right,
then when he got tired, KD would switch on. Now I'm bringing up Kobe specifically. No offense, because I'm a Lakers fan, but
right,
but when he got tired, KD would switch on Kobe. So,
right,
but that was when he got tired. But
right,
he literally used to run around and play defense. When
right.
he stopped playing defense, that for me, that's when the problem started.
Yeah, was Pop still there with that right the same time when you said before, when he started wanting the ball in his hand, when he moved to point guard, because he wanted the ball in his hand, so he ain't got to worry about being tired all the time. He can dictate the pace. So every time it was a time when he started going to being a point guard at the places like at Houston and not with the Thunder, but at Houston. And then when he moved on from there to the other places that he had been to, like the Philadelphia's and the other places, like you said, he demanded the ball in his hand. Then at that time, that took away from the shooting guard to the point guard. So yeah, I agree with you that as far as that go. But like I said before, that defense thing never happened unless you talking about Arizona and stuff like that. He was putting no defense in the NBA.
Nah. I mean, I'll give it to him because that's one of the reasons. That was one of the reasons why he was high on the six man list.
Right.
It wasn't primarily because of his offense. It was really because of his defense. So that's why he was always high on that six man list.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and then you have to agree with what you said. Like I said, then you have to agree with what you said before. When he moved into that point guard position, all that defense and everything else was out the window. It was just the ball in his hands.
okay, Houston. If anybody really remember when he was at Houston, Houston ran a double point guard situation. They did not have a legitimate shooting guard on their starting five. They ran a double point guard situation. So th- that's that's what their whole premise was behind. Then he took the only part that I hate about that is that he took the traits of PG-13 and brought that into his game, and that wasn't his game. Cause Harden used to literally break people ankles. Then he went to starting being lazy. Like literally, he was known as an ankle breaker.
I already know he got moves.
But
Yeah,
but then he packed on weight. Well, I'm sorry, he started dating a Kardashian. He packed on weight, and then after that, that's when everything else went out the window.
oh yeah, okay. And that's when he okay. That was during the time when he got that big ass. Pause.
Yeah, that big bag. Yeah,
Yeah,
remember he was dating Chloe Tristan Thompson baby mama. He was
yeah,
dating her right before he literally got paid.
yeah.
That's who he was dating at the
Yeah.
time.
But Jimmy, that what I mean by that big ass, I mean he put on weight. He put on weight in the ass on his body. That's when he
Oh yeah
got
yeah
when you
yeah yeah
say he got
yeah.
fat. No, he just put on weight. He got a bigger butt than he had at first. You know what I'm saying? He got big then. It was a noticeable difference there. Physically, um financially, I'm talking about he got a bigger bag on a bigger body. He had a big ass,
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
strong.
I did what you're saying.
Yeah, you say
He
it's put on weight, but that ain't it wasn't all. That was more than just put on. He put on. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but that goes
I
right back
mean,
to that goes right back to what Purple Baby was saying too about the tricks and stuff that he was using as far as the traveling and stuff like that. He developed those things to make his game more easy because he was known from to a certain extent. I agree with Purple Baby for seeing him like he was a person that cheated at the game. Like I said before, even though when you said that he go out and do the workouts and stuff when he was with the Thunder, KD had him doing all that stuff, man. He had him and Russell Westbrook doing that stuff. They wasn't about going out doing that stuff. That was over with when they left the Thunder. That going out and all that running in the sand and all that stuff, running up mountains and all that. That was dead stanky when they left the Thunder. All three of them to be exact.
no, 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 no. Harden, Harden didn't do workouts like that.
Okay.
He what what I'm literally stating is he he was staying at least in basketball shape.
Right.
Then he got out of basketball shape right because right in the midst of OKC, right before he left, that's when he started dating Chloe.
Right.
In the midst of that is like his commit. Everybody could tell. Not only did he get cocky, his commitment to the game like went left.
Right.
Like so he didn't like keep it 100 when it comes to the game
Right.
overall.
If anybody remember about James Harden, remember when he was in high school and college and stuff like that, and then in the first years of the pros, he had the vertical. He could jump about. He was jumping about the gym, especially in Arizona. Shoot, first couple of years of the pros, and then especially like when he went down to Houston, no, that was dead. He wasn't jumping about in the gym no more. He wasn't with no 38, no 40 vertical. He ain't had that no more. That was gold.
Right, but that's literally what I'm saying. He took the traits of um Chris Paul game and tried to adapt it to his game. And if he would have just kept with the format that had at the time, I think he would have been a much better player. So with what he's doing at Phoenix right now, I mean that's Chris Paul. If if
Yeah,
if you honestly look at any games last year with Phoenix, I mean with Philadelphia, and then think of Chris Paul, he was trying to do everything Chris Paul would do, and it just wasn't materializing the same.
okay.
First of all, he is big enough to be a shooting guard. He just doesn't want to stay in shape enough to be a shooting guard.
I wonder if that's why they can't stand each other because they so much alike on the court.
No, that I mean they was getting along well until it came to contract time because as a owner, you're gonna ask one of them to give you a discount.
Right,
Somebody got to take a L. I can't pay Capella, you, and him.
right,
And I'm not saying Capella deserve a big contract. That's not what I'm saying.
right,
What it I gotta pay both of y'all because remember, Chris Paul has been on a big deal ever since being a Pelican.
right.
So he's been getting a big bag. Harden, it was Harden for around about first time getting a big bag. That
Okay,
that's why he kind of lost his mind when he first got his money and
right,
started taking private jets here, private jets there. All before he was flying on Delta and Sprint and I mean Spirit.
Right.
But now all of a sudden that, oh yeah, I take a G5 here, I take a G7 here. Yeah, man, I do this, I do that. See what he wasn't doing all that jaw jacking before.
Yeah.
So I mean at this point, I'm actually disappointed in him. But Purple, what's your aspect about his overall game though? What do you think he's actually going to bring? Do you think he's going to bring something different to Philly this year? Basically, is what I'm asking.
I mean, I don't like. I think he gonna do the same thing he did last year. Honestly, like
Thank you.
I don't think it's gonna be anything different. I'm sorry because you know what's crazy. I don't have an issue with him in the regular season. It's when it's playoff time. Same thing with Embiid. I have no issue with either one of these players. It's just play when they get to the playoffs. I'm like, did y'all forget how to play? Like, what's going on? The disappearing acts and the shenanigans, and it's just like, well, I can't take this responsibility. Like, I know I'm supposed to be one of the stars of this team and whatever, but it's it's sad. He,
Now, okay, me personally, I felt Embiid played too many minutes. So now if you look at it, now they done bought our Hurt Center. They got another former Lakers center and Mo. That's two Nigerians on the same team. So I really want to see what how that's gonna be.
I
But
just
how?
with Embiid though, I've never like I don't understand. It's like he don't take his skill or his talent seriously. Like he likes to play entirely too much, and it's frustrating to like. Nigga, do you know? I wonder if he feels like, okay, I've done all I can do, and I'm gonna be like what Shaq came in here to do, and how generational he is. I don't understand Embiid just where's your head at? Like, yeah, Shaq played around too and did what he did, but when it was time to, especially playoff time, he did his job. It ain't just about putting up, what you do in the regular season. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry.
Mm,
Like,
it's not it. Okay, I'll say this. When Embiid first came into the league, and I don't think a lot of people paid attention. Embiid had put on like about 20 pounds quick out of nowhere. When he put on that 20 pounds when he first got in the league, that and he put it on so fast, it it started being a health concern for his knees.
right.
Okay, he was told then you at least have to lose 15 pounds and you can have a healthy NBA career. Doctors told him that. The GM at the time for Philadelphia was telling the fans and the media, trust the process, trust the process. Process was they was really trying to get him in conditioning. And B was fighting them on every twist and turn over conditioning. But you want to know another reason why he was still fighting against the conditioning? Because he see Ben Simmons getting away with murder. Well, Ben Simmons seen him getting away with murder. So then he wanted to get away with murder. Then Embiid said, well, hold up. If he getting away with murder, I'm going to continue to get away with murder. Because think about it. Embiid didn't play the first couple of years. He really didn't. I mean, everybody gave the nickname Street Clothes to AD. Embiid should have been the president and CEO of the company of Street Clothes. Because we talk about Kawhi Leonard right now. Well, that was Embiid when he first got into the league.
You know,
So
yeah, it's just the this. I just think it's over in Philly. I can't say Philly need to start over because I don't know as far as they draft picks what it's looking like, but it's just time. Like I think it's a closed book, and B is good enough to get you to the playoffs, but he's not good enough to get you a ring. He can be, he just don't want to be. This is a closed chapter because I'm tired of it's every year, man. Like,
well, Maxi is the one bright light for them right now. Because Maxi actually comes in, play hard all the way through. Like if anybody who outplayed this contract is that young man. Like Philly wouldn't have went as deep as they went if it wasn't for him.
And me myself, I feel sorry for him because of the fact that Harden can't get up out of there fast enough. He's the only one that's in that young man's way. Maxie is the only one that's being affected real tough by this situation by Harden being there because Harden is just in his way. That man can't sit up there and help him be win no championships because Harden is in the way.
Right, but if you honestly look at it, you have the NBA is the one who's really pushing Dame out of Portland, right? Through the media and then everything else. All right, cool. But if
The Portland organization. Don't say, well, it's the NBA, of course, because it's going along with the Portland organization. But it's the
right,
Portland organization that's doing it. They want to say still. I'm gonna tell you. Thank you, Jimmy, that for bringing that up because I want to make this perfectly clear. Dame, if it came down to it, Dame would stay in Portland to the rest of his dying days in his career.
yep.
He would stay there. Because look what he established to a certain extent. He's a typical NBA player that really want to succeed. The only thing that was standing in his way because of the low market and these people sitting up there playing games. They want to play at 50-50 and stay in them and keep a team until they can sell it for billions and billions and make some money off of it, but they don't want to spend money. But then it goes right back to that again. Who gonna
well
suffer?
no
Game suffers. And
well
then it,
no
it,
po-
it come back. Even, let me say this too, because Purple Baby spoke up on it too with the MB thing. MB gonna turn around and do the same thing. MB don't want to leave Philadelphia. They gonna turn around and be the same situation with him. He gonna come down having so many injuries, and they gonna say, "Well, look here, we got to dealing with your situation too, because we wasn't gonna choose Simmons over you. We wasn't gonna choose Harden over you. Now, but we'll run you up out of here. We feel as though we can't get no more up out here.
mm, mm.
That's
And you
Philadelphia.
know what?
Now you see how they did Dame already.
With the Dame situation,
So
at
hey, and that
first,
loyalty stuff really don't.
when he said what he
Go
said,
ahead, Purple.
directed towards, Paul George and stuff with the team hopping, I was like, yeah, but I thought about it, and it's funny because now Dame wants to leave, and it's just like, I mean, from what I've seen, he's not asking to go to a team that's stacked, but it's like, bro, like you opened your mouth too soon, like, oh, now you gonna die here, and you make them money, like you make them so much money, and you think they just gonna let you go for pennies? Nah, they want that whole dollar. Like it's
Well
it's it's sad.
no, I'll say this, and here's why I brought up the Dame situation. I brought up the Dame situation specifically because Dame primarily no does not want to leave Portland. If you actually take a look at Dame contract, you could tell Dame didn't want to leave Portland because the last year of his contract he's going to be making 63 mil a season. And that one season he gonna make 63 M's.
Hmm.
So Dame definitely wasn't trying to leave Portland. But the I was bringing that up specifically because Embiid is going to wind up being in that same scenario.
You think with his injury history that
With,
Philly don't hold on to him like that?
yes, and the main reason why is because they literally don't want to let him go and kind of never see his full potential. Now with him becoming the MVP, now they definitely gonna try to keep him around regardless of the fact of the matter. Jimmy pointed that out when he was there because there was no way, honestly, on paper, and this is just going off paper. There's no way they shouldn't have been in the Eastern Conference Finals with Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Embiid. There and Tobias. There's no way they shouldn't have been in the Eastern Conference Finals at that time. Now they when they did make it, they got beat. Lucky shot, however you want to look at it, by a man with a bone bruise who barely plays 40 games a season.
Mm.
So at that point, at or should I say at this point, they're going to try to keep him.
Hey,
Now,
hey, Gemini, can I say this? Okay, keep that point, keep going. But I want to say this. I don't want you to underestimate that thing what you had just said about Kawhi Leonard. I'm gonna tell you something. They did that strategically very well. They handled that very well, and he did a hell of a performance that game, especially all the way down to that last shot. But you go head on with that though. Go ahead.
when when it literally comes to the Philly situation, they hope and belief with them what they have, like Tobias, they I feel they do him a disservice. What what I honestly mean by that is Tobias should not be guarding the best man on the floor, but that's what they put him as. Tobias is more of an offensive minded player than a defensive minded player, even though he does play defense and plays it pretty well. But they ask so much for him, and if that's the case, he should have had a bigger contract. He's played up to the level of the contract that they're paying him, but he hasn't overplayed his contract because they're trying to get the ball to Embiid. Um, they was using Ben Simmons more in the box for a back down layup, where that's normally what Tobias Harris normally was. So then we come all the way to today. There's they're still using him more for defense than offense. And what got him that contract was his offense that season. I think he put up like 16 point something a game for that season, and that's what got him that contract.
Yeah.
It
But
it it wasn't the defense.
what
So
you talk about Tobias Harris, right?
right.
Okay, okay, I agree with that. With Tobias Harris, one thing about him is like, you have to you just said it. Do his contract, the size of his contract, um add along with the size, equate with the size of his plan abilities. That's how you look at him because of the fact that because he don't stand out to be all that great. You understand me? So, but
No, he
he
plays up
demands a
to the
lot of
level
money.
of his contract. No, no, no. He plays up to the level of what he's getting paid. He's not overplaying the contract.
Oh, okay. I would know. I wouldn't. Because I don't know what they paying him. But like I said, I can see the production that he's putting out on the court, and it's not really that. It's not really out. It ain't outstanding. I might say.
No, what they was doing at first when Ben used to clog up the lane,
Yep.
and that was where Tobias Harris spot was.
Right.
But they was trying something different. But then Tobias really they kind of gave him a green light to shoot. So he was able to average that 16 point something to 18 point something a game. So once again, that's what got him that contract. But as soon as they paid him that contract, then they say, "Oh, we need you more on the defense. We need you more defensive minded," and that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So when it comes to Harden at this point, it is kind of like the Jason the guy that Atlanta just traded
John Collins.
John Collins. It's kind of like the John Collins situation. I don't know when you're about to shoot the ball because you're not even running the plays.
I agree.
So if if the play is supposed to run a certain way and Harden isn't running the play all the way through, and he's keeping the ball and over dribbling and
Yep.
using up the shot clock. By the time he gets the ball to that other player that was open at first, but he offlooked him. I mean, by the time he get the ball, now these guys are struggling for shots.
Yep. Or they getting turnovers.
Right.
He waited to the last second to pass it.
So that's the real thing when it comes to Harden, and that's the flaws I see with him. But that's also what I mean about he wasn't doing that at OKC. He That's exactly what I mean when I say he brought a dimension of Chris Paul's game to his game, but he should have left it where it was at. If that kind of makes sense.
I mean, he he messed it up for himself. That's all I can say.
And I mean right now, if you really think about it, he now the next tendency that he's bringing up on his plateau is the KD characteristics
Mm.
of pouting and everything else. Man, all I want you to do is shoot the basketball, pimp. That's all I need you to do. Get out here and play ball. All this extra that you're doing, I don't need you to turn into a KD headache situation.
I
Cause
mean,
it
I just
it
feel like Harden, like he's not jealous, but it's a I was about to say a confirmation. It's an insecurity thing that he's looking and he's like, well, why can't like coming into the year or just in the general sense, when have you ever just with guys that's currently playing where people have said outside of his years in Houston that Harden is a top five player? I know he's in the top 10, but top five. Really think about your top five players over the last couple of years. When has Harden been there?
to me if you're asking me, he's never been a top 5 player. Never.
And I think that's what his problem is because Russell Westbrook, if I remember correctly, was a top five player. We all know that KD was, and I'm not gonna say Harden never was a top five player because I believe he was, but like I said, I think it was like his years in Houston and everything. But it's just like he was like okay. He looks around because they pay attention to these lists. They can say that they don't care, but they pay attention to it.
I
You know.
mean, me personally, I've always had him like the highest that he got on my scale is maybe top 10. But
Hmm.
but you saying top 5, no, I got
Because
hella
really think
pushback on
about
that.
it. I forgot that year. Was it an
Talking about the
MVP that
year he
Giannis?
almost got you talking about the year he almost got the scoring title. I dig
Yeah,
that part.
because we know over the last I think 4 or 5 years, the top five has consisted LeBron, Curry, Giannis, Embiid, and I'm missing a player. Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, but it was somebody else before it was Jokic. Curry, who was it? It might have been Harden actually. He might have. He might was six because KD,
They, they,
Kirby,
they,
LeBron,
they, they,
Giannis, Jokic,
he,
or
he
seven. He was in the top seven, or
yeah,
we could put
yes,
Embiid.
he
I
was
mean,
in the
not
top
Embiid,
seven.
Davis.
Yes, yes, he was in the
Davis,
top
my fault.
seven.
I forgot about Anthony Davis.
Well, AD at that time was not top. He wasn't top five. He was in the top 10 also, but he was.
So
And I
yeah,
hate to say this, is like he had so much up and down within the season, to where you couldn't really, even though on paper he's top 10, he wasn't playing like he was top 10, if that kind of makes sense.
right. Yeah, like I said, like I just think like he got frustrated because like we know Curry, everybody has bad games. Like all these players have bad games, but I think like he was looking around and his other competitors have these bad games. Like why you would ever look at LeBron and say, well, he's able to have these bad games and do this and that, and he still remains top five. Well, it's flabbergasting. But I think he looked, even though Curry was winning rings and stuff like that, that they were able to have those bad games and people tore them down for it to a certain extent. But when it came to him, it was he might have felt like he couldn't mess up or feeling like he couldn't mess up and he had to accomplish them things. And so he started to get frustrated. Like, how can I mess up and then y'all just take me out of the top five and, do all this and I accomplished these things. Whether it's the scoring title or whatever, but you don't. And then you got to think about it. People said the way that he was playing, including the late great Kobe Bryant, said that he wasn't going to win that way. And I think he got frustrated around that time. Like, how can Kobe of all people tell me I can't play this way and you got 5 rings this way? Yeah, you was defending, but you were isolation heavy, man. I say, and all these things, but you telling me I can't play this way. No, I'm in his mind. He probably felt like, oh, I'm top five. I don't care what you talking about. I'm gonna move stuff out the way.
I mean, him wanting to be top five and actually being top five is two different things.
Yeah.
So I
But think about it. Was Kobe for all the years that Kobe played? Did anybody? We know people criticize that he was dominant of the ball. Now I'm not gonna say isolation heavy, but he just didn't pass it like people wanted him to pass it and whatever.
No,
Did
he
we
was a second
ever
coming of Mike.
just
Yes, call it what it is. Ball hog, second coming of MJ. Keep going.
okay? Did we ever, as a fandom, say, "Well, Kobe's not top five because of those things"? At the time
I
he was
did.
playing.
I did. I I I, I did, and but here's actually why. The problem with Kobe, with me, started
Hmm.
with Jones. Started with Jones. He wanted Jones' position so bad, to where he literally backdoored that man and started having dinner with the owner and the GM. See, a lot of people don't even realize that that was going on. But he literally started having dinner with the owner and the GM to get Jones out of there. Okay, so Jones out of there, right?
Yeah.
Then a couple of years down the road, cause remember, it wasn't always Mamba mentality at first. He was shooting and missing a hell of a lot of them.
Yeah.
So then then you had the separation between him and his wife. So then he started sleeping at the practice facility. Okay. Then he started developing that hunger and everything else. All right, that's cool. Then you get into it with Shaq over him telling you, "Say, bro, if you're gonna cheat on your wife, have two different bank accounts." And y'all tell on the locker room behind that. That's what you got mad about. So okay, you, now Shaq is out of there, right?
Mm.
And I'm not even bringing up the Denver situation because everybody supposedly mad at D'Lo for the recording. Kobe started naming players all on different teams and everything, putting everybody business out there. So if anybody deserved a good block of Velveeta cheese, it was Kobe. Cause he put all type of players' names out there. Well, he does this and he does this and blah 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 blah. But that's neither here nor there. Then you boot Shaq out of there. Do anybody realize that man needed four players to replace one?
I mean, yep, of course. Mm.
Okay, I bring that up legitimately just to say that's why I took him out my top five.
Was he still in your top 10 though?
He was in my top eight.
Okay. Okay.
He was honestly in my top eight. And overall, him and Michael was not called for defensive fouls when they played defense. So that's why they wasn't never like within my top five.
Okay.
If that kind of makes sense. I, I I don't mind a good player being being a good player and defensive prowess, offensive prowess. I don't mind none of that. But when the referee even helping you by not calling that foul, and I know the NBA wants you to be the face of the NBA, but in my eyesight, if I was to do that to somebody in a game, we'll be fighting. Like
Um,
that's the type of defense him and the ref will let him and Mike get away with.
I wanted to ask you about this too because this has been talked about lately. That for Do you believe that outside of LeBron's first 7 years in Cleveland, that outside of that he's been the face of the NBA ever since, or have you believed from the beginning that he's like when he first came in that he was the face?
He was the face when they put and this part is amazing. They put like half a mil just in promotions to promote LBJ.
Right.
So he was the face of the league, but
Mhm.
he wasn't a selfish face of the league.
Right. Right. I definitely agree there.
So that that's why like certain fans are like, oh man, he just don't have the killer in him. No, he actually, if you listen to what he says, his main idol was actually Magic.
Right.
His high school coach told him never try to not. I'm sorry, not never. Try to not put yourself over the team. Yes, you are the star,
Right.
but try not to put yourself over the team. So when you have that type of foundation, the you're not going to come in with a Michael Jordan ball hog, a Kobe ball hog.
Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, Carmelo Anthony. Because prime example, this man said even in his and I'm talking about Kobe Bean Bryant, he even said in the interview, and the shooting coach brought this up too. The He asked Kobe, "Hey man, why don't you pass the ball?" Kobe said, "What position I play?" He, he said, "Shooting guard." He said, "Exactly. I'm supposed to shoot the ball. It don't say pass the ball. It says shoot the ball."
Yeah, that's funny. I
But
just feel like because I was just watching basketball, like I don't really care. But when I think about it then, back then, I'm like, you know what? I don't. I'm a little foggy in the beginning of LeBron's career, but I remember everything after when he went to Miami and stuff like that. And I would say even with Curry winning, that was interesting to me. That it was like, okay, yeah, Curry and them are winning. We gonna push them, but we gonna still push LeBron because we know he's going to be there. I didn't see. I felt like yeah, they pushed Kobe that same way, but it was more about the Lakers. Like, if you catch what I'm saying, like in football, how they try not to single out like one player, it's more of a team thing. So they push the team instead of the player. I felt like it was like that with the Lakers. Like, yeah, we known for winning and we're the Lakers, but we got Kobe too, but we're still the Lakers versus LeBron. Cause come on, Cleveland, like no way.
No, 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 no. Okay, this all started and I'm gonna show you exactly what it started. It started with a Sports Illustrated article, and that writer, because I remember reading that article, and it's probably online somewhere. Um, it called him greatness.
Mm,
Like it literally that writer talked about the greatness of LBJ game, and he was a junior at the time in high school.
mm-hmm.
So when they put that title on him, when that writer put that title on him, that's when the NBA like was just like, okay, soon as the draft come, we putting every marketing dollar behind him. Cause think about that year now. Wade showed his butt off in the tournament. Carmelo showed out in the tournament. LeBron coming out of high school. Um a couple of international players was supposed to be the next stars in that draft. Like I'm actually trying to remember that draft like off the top of my head, but it's like the NBA was supposed to change. It was doing some definite changes that draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many players like literally showed up and showed out from day one of actually being in the NBA game. Like how many from that draft?
Not that many, just the ones that you named.
Okay, so when you look at that dynamic, even at his first game, the same writer for Sports Illustrated like did another article, but this article was like more like, I told y'all MFs, I told y'all this kid was nice, like I told y'all. Like that, like that's how he pretty much came into it that time. Dig what I'm saying?
Mm.
So when you say the face of the league, yes, when he came in, the only thing that held him back was that owner. Gilbert did
Yep.
not want to pay for players within their prime. Then the players he had, he was turning them against LeBron.
Yeah.
Well, he tried turning them against LeBron, and for some of them, yeah, it worked because they was complaining that they wasn't getting the shots, but hell, that I mean, y'all was winning games. I mean, uh, uh, think about the team AI brought in Philadelphia to the finals, and then think of the team that LeBron brought to the finals in Cleveland.
Mm.
And, and if you can name me at least three players off of each of those teams, besides those two stars that I just said, because they didn't have an all star on that team now. Neither one of them, LeBron nor AI, had a another All Star on that team. So if you can name three players on either one of those teams, the 76ers or that Cleveland team that made it to the finals, I I I'm I'm gonna have to download Cash App and I'm gonna have to send you something.
I mean, without looking at the roster, can I name anything for you? Absolutely not. I ain't gonna lie like that. With either one of them, really, it's
Well,
just,
but
it's
but
just,
but that answers your question about the face of the league.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
be, because AI, that's how really AI got to be the face of the league.
You really thought he was the face of the league with everything that was going on with him?
What the answer? Oh yeah, yeah. The answer? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Really?
they they made all type of rules to try to change AI from being AI. AI brought hip hop to basketball. AI brought like a different flair, like Ric Flair. Whoa, like he brought a different flair when it came to basketball. He made it cool for people to have um different type of braid patterns, um getting touch ups while the game going on, um like the actual swag, like swag and backing it up. Like, come on, man. Like,
He brought the
not
hood
yeah,
to the suburbs.
yeah, like man, he baptized them. Like, and especially when he played Mike with that crossover, that cemented it. So before he even got the team to the finals, he cemented it with that crossover that he did on MJ, to where MJ actually called him a itch right after that play. And from that point on, he always called him a itch. Like because even AI and Mike talked about it. What AI? I'm gonna say AI point of view because Mike touched on it, but he didn't really touch on it. He, AI walked up to Mike before the game. No, before the next game against the Bulls and say, "Man, I forgot to tell you during the last game, you really my idol." Mike say, "Hey, little bit, you I can't be your idol, or else you wouldn't have crossed me like that."
That's funny.
But with me already knowing stories about MJ, I mean, I can see him being that petty. I can, but I mean, it is what it is.
So when you think about now, like when we think about the guys today, and you like the Ja Morants, Anthony Edwards, even like LaMelo Ball. A lot of people speak because they're looking at the top five currently. It's the reason why I asked you about the top five. And they're
Okay.
like, it's a shame. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing that LeBron, for whether you, like you said, 20 years, that nobody's been able to come in and bring the dollars that he, even with Curry and the Warriors, nobody's been able just to knock him off. Is it because he was winning, or is because a lot of people are worried and saying, as far as a U.S. basketball player being, like LeBron and stuff like that, they don't have that. Which now is going foreign, and a lot of people are scared because as good as as bad as Embiid plays to some people, you got like Embiid, you got Doncic, you got and be down and Giannis. And a lot of people are looking in like at these younger guys and like, who's that guy? Who's that US guy that they can take and make money overseas and here in the States? Like, who's that guy? Do you think it's
Antetokounmpo.
do you think it's still, I mean, yes, for foreign money, but because I was thinking about that, and I said I like watching sports in general, but with Giannis, make, because it's about the casual dollars, not the people that, regardless of what's going on, they watching basketball. I'm like, would I, or could I get my friends or whom family member to turn on the TV to watch a Doncic, a Giannis, a Jokic, or an Embiid? I don't think I could. Like, unless you're really heavily, heavily into basketball, because as people have said, it's a team game, period. But for some reason with basketball, they've taken, ever since Jordan, they've always taken a guy, not off of each team, but a guy just in general, and said, here he is. Yes, this is a team game, like with LeBron. Like, here LeBron is, and this is a team game. But without LeBron, this team goes nowhere. Like, nowhere at all. Like, absolutely nowhere. And people feel like that's a problem for, yeah, Giannis is making the dollars, but will the U.S. viewers like turn on the TV? Because a lot of people think Jokic is boring and Giannis personality is boring, because it's about, making money off the court too, and people find that they're boring. Like, at least on and off the court you feel Embiid is entertaining, but it's like they're boring. Like, how can you sell that? That's why I'm asking, like, from a US perspective, what US basketball player do you see, American at that can bring, like LeBron did? Like, we know Giannis and them are going to bring in the foreign dollars, but what about the American dollars from the casual viewer?
To answer that question, the and I know people gonna get mad when I bring this up. The NBA is trying to bring the white or light skin complexion back to the front. Okay.
Mm,
So at this point, with the question, with, with your question, there's actually two two players that I will put on there as of this point, and the first one will be Curry. The next one will be they're trying to put money behind Tatum.
yeah, yeah. I would say Curry, because when I say younger, I'm thinking of people around Tatum's age and stuff like that. Like, they say early 20s, mid 20s, somewhere in there. Like, Curry's quite, and that's what's crazy about Curry. As dominant as the Warriors as a team has been, and even Curry has been, like, yeah, you got kids like Curry, 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 but it's like, I don't feel that his effect is the same. Maybe it's because I'm older and I was younger when LeBron came in, but I just feel like it's not the same. Like, the effect, it's not the same that it was with LeBron.
No, you had a media tidal wave, baby. You actually had. First of all, they've been tracking this man ever since his sophomore year.
Right.
To be honest, so with tracking since his sophomore year, a lot of people didn't check for Curry until what happened in that Davidson game, where they was triple teaming him and basically telling the rest of the team, y'all gotta beat us.
Right, right, right,
So but they didn't even check for him that hard. But that's how hard, like, the NBA still brings that up about him in interviews now. Like, they even ask him, man, do you remember the NCAA game where you was getting triple team?
right.
Like,
But
so that's what made them put the marketing dollars behind him. But overall, no, Kerr was not marketed like that. Because think about it. Mark Jackson actually saved Kerr's career because he put in that medical exemption for him because the NBA was literally about to get him out of there. Remember, he had hella ankle injuries, like hella ankle injuries. We joke about KD twisting his ankle in a warm up. Kerr couldn't even make it on the court for
Mm.
his ankles. So Mark Jackson actually saved his career. That's why, if you notice, in every interview he brings up Mark, he may not say his name, but you know who he's talking about if you follow basketball. You know
Right.
he's talking about Mark Jackson. You know he's not talking about Steve Kerr. Because actually, Mark is the one who got them together, got that foundation together with them. Cause those were Mark Jackson guys. That wasn't even the owner. That was Mark Jackson guys.
Like when I think, I agree with most people say. I don't think you're gonna have a face like we did with LeBron and whatever. I think you're gonna have faces like multiple guys to represent, and it has, I think, little to do with the talent some of these guys got. I just think I don't want to see you acting the fool off the court, but I think they look, because look how good Shaq made it, after his career in sports was over with. His commentary. I think they look for that, like, to sell it. You got to be a great salesman. Like I like Tatum. I don't think Tatum's boring, but it's like I don't like it's just not gonna be they. I don't think for a very long we'll never see the dollars come in for just one guy to carry a league like we did with LeBron. I think that's over with. Like I don't think we'll ever see that shit for a very long time, like ever. Like I don't think Tatum is gonna carry that torch like LeBron did. Like it's just not gonna happen. And I know like a lot of people say like Ja's the face, but I don't. I mean, as long as he don't, do the wrong things with his little situations, I don't really care. As long as he not hurting nobody, like I don't really care. But it's just, it's hard. And I've heard Anthony Edwards. People must have forgot he used some slurs, not racial, but he's used some slurs, and with that other community over there to the left, and so they not really trying to do it. To me, by them looking for just a clean cut guy like with LeBron, home values, never cheated on his wife that we know of, but that's none of my business. Very team oriented guy. To a lot of people, he's not selfish. I don't think you have that guy. I think you have a lot of self centered guys. You have a lot of, with this generation, yeah, they still get married, but not really. So like you don't have nobody to push that family narrative, like go home to your wife after a long day of work type of narrative. Like once LeBron goes. And I think they in trouble.
Well, it's not just that they're gonna be in trouble. Okay. The easiest way for me to break this down is just break it down by the last five faces of the NBA. Okay,
Hmm.
Magic, Larry Bird.
Hmm.
I'm starting with them two, even though they was in the same era. But that's why that's why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. You had drunks and cokeheads in the NBA. Now you had to be a fan of the NBA to actually notice and understand this, but that was during the cocaine and drunk era of the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Next one up, as you're coming out of the cocaine era, you had Michael Jordan.
Hmm.
Now you're into gambling and drinking era. Kobe Bean Bryant. It's the cheating era of the NBA. Now, what I mean by cheating era, Sean Kemp have 10 kids. which I know he made the turkey baster joke famous, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but that type of situation was happening to players constantly, right?
Mm.
So that was that era. Then here comes LeBron James. If he not at the gym, he at home. If he's on the road, he's running away from all the groupies. The other guy's going to the club, he reading a book. Now think about that now. This young man out of high school, he reading a book. They going to the club. Now when he do go to the club, it is like is a couple of days gap where he could recoup and everything else. And if you notice, he haven't had one problem at no nightclub, no event, no problems at home, other than she got to accept that he's an NBA player and that schedule is horrible. But in 21 years, this man does not have one blemish on his record. 21 years, not near blemish. That's going to be hard to combat because, I mean, Michael Jordan was gambling. David Stern was about to kick him out. So he walked away before the NBA hit him with that indefinite. And real MJ fans know what I'm talking about. They, they they got he got rid of himself before the NBA hit him with that indefinite because they was about to hit him like they hit Pete Rose. He was about to get the same type of action. You dig what I'm saying? Same type of
Mhm.
action. He was about to get that. So at this point, what there, there's not that many players that have that do not put themselves in a bad predicament. And you can't say that, oh man, he don't be out in the community like I be out in the community, because that man do a lot for his area that he grew up in. He even bought the old mission for the city, and gonna make that he's gonna link that with his nonprofit to help people with literacy and get jobs and help house them. We already know about the school that every kid there is on 100% scholarship, all the way down to transportation. So he's in the hood because he have to go in the hood to actually meet these parents before he just bring them to the school and everything, and have meetings with them. So he he's in the hood. He just not in the hood with what other people want him to be. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's actually trying to help other people shine, and it's not that many stars that are in the NBA that are willing to help another person shine. So, do I think there's going to be another one? It's going to be a long time, baby. It's going to be a long time.
Mhm.
But it was the same thing for Lou Alcindor, aka the Cap. It same thing.
Yeah. I just think it's. I think although the NFL is selfish, I understand why they market the team first before they market the player. Now they are starting to change that where they're marketing the player, but they still make sure they throw the team in there. But I understand now because for so long I disagreed with how the NFL decided to market just the teams and why they wasn't, taking players. But now I understand it's okay to have, because I'm pretty sure we've had people with spotless records in the NFL. Definitely. I ain't gonna say we haven't, from coaching to even players, but it's always been about the team more than it is the player. You know, while the NBA, once Jordan came along from my purview, they were like, we got to find that guy. Whether it's, and my question to you, because you old enough, why we know Shaq was the guy, right, when he came to, well, before he got to the Lakers. But my thing is, why wasn't his star, like how people revere Kobe and stuff like that? Why isn't like 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 LeBron, like where they're like we know Shaq was generational, but I just feel like with Shaq, it's like people know he's generational, but they're like at the same time, he didn't play against nobody. Like there was nobody for him. What's with that situation with Shaq? Could you explain that?
It's the same thing like with Will Chamberlain. You you cannot you there was only three, what, one, two, three, four. Okay, it was four centers that could literally go against Shaq. Five if I throw in this one person, but I I literally think that Shaq pretty much got the best of this guy at the end of the day, even though it was a heavyweight fight. Um, it was Elijah, it was David Robinson, it was Ewing, it was Morning, and Yao Ming.
Right.
Those were the only five that could literally kind of put up with Shaq. Once you go past them five, there's nobody else that was in the NBA that, if somebody in the chat disagree with me, please give me a name. There's not another name that could do with this and dominate a game like Shaq could. Not only was he power, not only was he um nimble. A lot of people don't even know this man was made it to the NBA. Here's the hilarious story about Shaq. He made it to the NBA with a bum wrist, if that makes sense. Now, let me tell you what I mean about a bum wrist. He fractured his wrist, technically broke his wrist, but they have it as down as a fracture when he was 14 years old. It never healed properly. Never. Look at the type of career he had in the NBA. So not only did he make it to the NBA, look at the type of career he had in the NBA. So for all the people who was wondering why he couldn't hit free throws, that's why. He couldn't really bend his wrist.
I just think it's interesting because I'm like, especially when I listen to, I do hear many people put Shaq over Kobe, but it just, I'm like, well, dang, like he's definitely generational. I definitely agree with that. But I was like, dang, like, come on, like, how we doing, LeBron? What about Shaq? Like, y'all don't revere. What went wrong with Shaq to where people was
No,
like,
people were scared of Shaq. What?
not,
Hold on,
no, I
purple.
know
Purple.
that. I'm saying like his career is obviously been done, right?
Uh,
The like how people feel about Tim Duncan. I've been hearing a lot of things about Tim, and I've heard a lot of people's all-time list. People are putting Tim Duncan over Shaq and saying, "Well, he Shaq's dominance, like, yeah, he was dominant, but he did not take it seriously enough, or it was just too much. Like
no,
he
no, no, no,
was
no, no, no. No, no. I have to pause you. Here's why. When Shaq came in the league, Shaq had no other center on that team. Okay,
With the Magic, right?
with the Magic.
Okay.
When Tim Duncan came in the league, he even though he was on the down like coasting, but he could still produce. He still had David Robinson,
Right.
so that took a lot of pressure off of Tim, which still
Mm.
gave him time to bloom. Shaq was more like, okay, this what I got. All right, y'all hop on my back. Let's go.
Mhm.
So people, it's that's just like when people talk about Michael Jordan.
Mhm.
They never give Horace Grant his credit. They never give Craig Hodges his credit. Paxson, um, it depends on how you look at it about Bill Cartwright, but Rodman and Ron Harper, um, and in a minute I'm gonna tell you why I'm bringing up these names. Damn near all these names, other than for Horace Grant, and the only reason why Horace Grant never made an All Star game is because the East was a beast when it came to power forwards. That's the only reason why that man never made it to an All Star game. But literally, he- like they never think about the other people on that team. They only think about the stars. So with Tim, they give more shine to him than David Robinson. Well, the funny thing about it was David Robinson was still putting up like 23, 25 points a game when Tim came in the league. That's why they call Tim the big fundamental. But also, they're also looking at Tim Duncan was a power forward. Then he was made the center by default.
Do you have Tim over Shaq all time or Shaq over Tim?
They're not even in the same position.
I'm
Now
saying just
here's
in
why. No, no,
general.
no,
If you
no, no, no. And here's why. Because when Tim came in the league, Tim was a power forward, right? What
yeah.
now watch this. When Elijah came in the league, Elijah was a power forward. So when you look at the game, what did they bring to the game? Me personally, I would pick Elijah over Tim Duncan. That's me though,
Wow.
because and that's at the power forward position. You dig what I'm saying? When it comes to the
Mhm.
center position, oh, I'm definitely taking Elijah over Tim Duncan. I'm definitely taking Shaq over Tim Duncan at center. I would be crazy if I
Mhm.
don't. I would have to put a gun to my head not to. Like literally, Elijah Wan was a monster when they stopped running the twin tower system in Houston, and they literally started building around that man. Shaq
So
didn't
you
have nobody, and look at what he was able to accomplish with the Magic. Remember,
right.
Chicago didn't want to pay Grant. Grant said, "Hold on, man, I'm 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 still worth some money. So let me see what they got going down there in Orlando." He went down to Orlando, and didn't they beat the Bulls? Ooh, last time I checked, they beat the Bulls that year. But then the next year they lost to the Bulls. So I mean, why wouldn't I take Shaq over Tim Duncan? Like, nah, I mean, nah, that's a no burner. That nah.
Yeah.
And especially in a prime. Oh no, I'm taking Shaq all day. Shaq had more blocks, more rebounds. He used to get damn near triple team. Remember, it was called Hacker Shack for a reason, baby. No, no. You had to hack that man to literally get him not to make it with a
Mm.
bum wrist. So nah, all day long I'm taking Shaq. All day long. So will there be another player? Uh, it is going to be a long time for two reasons. They cut off the high school to NBA pipeline.
Mm.
They're trying to hype up the G League. They're trying to bring some shine to the WNBA. So they got too many irons in the fire right now. Where before they could just concentrate one league. Now they can't concentrate like that.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. Like I don't like. I mean, Jokic is good. Do you think Jokic, by the time it's all said and done, will be better than Shaq, or do you think Shaq is just better than Jokic?
M- Um, Me personally, I would take Shaq, but not watch this because it's actually about to sound like I'm talking off both sides of my mouth for for the first time in a long time. God dang. Um, Joker came in as a pro. When he got drafted, he was a pro international. So see, that's the leg up international players have on us. Like they can actually start playing professional basketball like at 16 years old overseas, like literally. So when Joker came and got drafted by Denver, he was already a pro, and he was really trying to get that team to a championship. So, and he didn't want to make it bad for the other Serbian center that Denver had. So he went back overseas. He didn't play the year he was drafted. Then Denver wind up trading the other guy from Serbia, and that's when they demand he come, or they told him he will be banned and he'll never play in the NBA. Then he came to the NBA and started playing for Denver. Make sense? So he already had a leg up on Shaq, but still overall, Shaq got cheated out of MVPs because Shaq should have way more MVPs than what he have at this point. Um, Shaq been cheated in the game on fouls. So is Joker better than Shaq? No. Is he is he a better developed player than Shaq? Yes, if that makes sense. Like he came in as a pro. Shaq didn't come in as a pro. Shaq came in, give me the ball. I'm about to break goals.
Mm.
Like I'm a
Wait a
punish.
minute, what that song?
I'm a punish whoever y'all got at the center position. Barbecue chicken. I'm a punish them. Just give me the ball. Cause think about it. Shaq was easily getting out the bed a walking double double. Shaq also have a couple of games with triple doubles. See, and a lot of people don't bring that up. So Shaq could pass the ball more, but guess who he had as a teammate who was shooting the ball? Guess who? Kobe
Hmm.
Bean Bryant.
Hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking about that because I was like, oh, I mean, I don't know about these all time, all time lists. I think we should do it take it in groups of 20 years, and I think the
All
all
time should
time
be
list should
based by
change.
no. All time, see, and that's one of the problems I have. When you say all time, it need to be by position. because the only argument people should literally have, are they gonna put Walt or Shaq
Hmm.
for at the five position? That should be the only. Well, no, for some people, the other argument will be is the shooting guard going to be Michael or Kobe? So those are the only two arguments. But okay, watch this. Wilt was cheated out of a lot of his stats because a lot of his stats didn't even make the record book.
Right.
The only reason why that 100 game made it to the record book is because the reporter took a picture. Think about that now. That's one record that'll never be broke again in the NBA. Never. They will never be one player on one team to score 100 points. I don't want to hear nothing about he was playing against janitors and plumbers and garbage men. I don't want to hear none of that. Cause that what was the man? So Kobe, look at how even if they wouldn't have taken Kobe out of the game, the most Kobe would have scored was 90. Was maybe 95. He still wouldn't have hit that 100 points. He still wouldn't have hit 100 points. Not a Hondo.
I say this too. Like when I look at today's players, Jokic is nice, but he's not Shaq, and that's okay. But it's like I look at LeBron and I'm like, it's players that take from his game, but when I'm looking for that generational guy, I don't see it, yo. Like I think people use the term generational because I'm so sick of them using it. Here lately, I think they use it too much. And a lot of people are in denial. Like it is crazy to me.
I okay. You brought up Edwards, right?
Anthony. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you one problem with Anthony, that if Anthony actually moved positions, he'll be a hell of a lot better. They actually have him as a small forward when he needs to be the shooting guard.
Mm. But he's not generational to me though. That's
No,
the issue. Like with School Henderson, people like he's generational. So his comp is
mm-mm, mm-mm.
like
Scoop is a pro that's like being called up. So and that's when I have pushback when it comes to what's that guy name that be on the panel sometime? Um
quiz.
no, he the delusional fan. What's his name, man? Because I wouldn't let him get on my nerves the last time. That was why I just got off of the panel. What's his name, man?
Uh no panic.
No. He talked about Miller dad,
Oh, Pope. Pope.
Pope. Um Pope like would never say that Edwards is playing in the wrong position, right?
Hmm.
But Edwards, that's why Edwards is getting out muscled a lot of games because he's playing a small forward position. If he actually played his position of shooting guard, he would be transcending.
Really?
Yeah, he would out muscle them and everything else. He's strong. He really is. He's strong. He's a hellfire slasher. Um, he has confidence in his shot. He plays defense, but he's 6'5", trying to guard people that's 6'8" and 6'9". That's not gonna work.
Mm.
I mean, you trying to guard somebody 6'7", okay. This not the bedroom, but I'll spot you 2 inches. Pause. Um, you guarding somebody that's 6'7", okay, but you trying to guard somebody that's 6'8", 6'9". That's not gonna work, pimp. Then they outweigh you.
That's what I said. I think what people don't realize, I understand the wingspan thing, but they acting like everybody that's currently in the NBA right now don't have wingspans. Like
No,
I
no, no,
hate
no,
when
no.
they know he got a 7 foot wingspan. Okay, don't everybody else playing? They got a wingspan too. Like goddamn, calm down. When they ain't standing, when they just standing, rather, I get your point about how much taller this person is and stuff like that. But calm down. Like everybody in the NBA has a fucking wingspan. Even us as people that don't play in the NBA have wingspans. Like calm down. If I keep hearing y'all talking about wingspans one more time, oh, oh my God.